Well, good afternoon. We welcome you to this Red Door concert featuring a fellow from, I think he's working up at University of Vermont. He's a professor of music, David Feurzeig. David is, now this would be the 101st community that he's gone to. I think there's around 250 communities, so he has a few more to go. He's our soloist pianist today, and along with him is Bekka Eöwind that'll be on violin. So we have a wonderful concert set up for you this afternoon. David is going through the state, and the donations today are going to a statewide environmental fund. And he can say a little bit more about that when he gets up. But so there's 100 different places he's gone to, so I think the fund will appreciate what he's doing throughout the state. So with that, I'm going to turn this over to David. On your way out, if you haven't donated, you can donate to that jar in the back on the way out. So thank you all for coming, and David, I'm going to put you on.
Thank you. Thanks so much for coming, and thank you to Dick and Meg and everyone who helped to arrange this concert. That's a piece I play a lot at the beginning of these concerts. It was written in 1748, which was the year of the Treaty of Aix-la-Chapelle, as you remember. And that was where, among other things, France decided to relinquish any claim to this part of the world south of what is now the border. So in a way, it marks the beginning of Vermont's modern political history. Otherwise, we'd be part of Canada. And actually, a lot of people now are wishing that maybe France had tried a little harder. But that's I do try to localize these programs, though, to each particular town. So I was very happy to see that Wilmington was chartered the year that this well-known Christmas carol, at least when it was first written down, was in 1751. So I thought maybe I could play it and we could all join along. I'll play it once through so you get used to it. You may think that, looking for my music here, you may think that you already know it, but it turns out the original 1751 version is in triple time. So I'll play it once, and then maybe we can do it once in Latin and once in English, because, it's the middle of July. Yeah, so it's a waltz. All right, I also have a piece from the year that we have the first recorded town meeting here in 1751. This is an amazing, sort of remarkably stormy sonata by Joseph Haydn, and I forgot to put in the program that it's in 3 movements. There's a presto, an adagio, and a vivace molto. So it's kind of smoky out there. Not too bad here, and the wind has been fortunate. I did play a year and a half ago on the smokiest recorded day ever in Vermont. I've also played on the wettest 24 hours ever in Vermont, and I've played on the so far hottest ever November day in Vermont. All of which is a reminder that despite the wonderful advances in the electric and battery areas, we're still kind of, what's the polite word to say in this room? We're in a tough situation with regards to the sort of climate crisis, which, however good a job we do from here on, you know, the impacts are, some of them are baked in and are only going to get worse as we go on. And I just mentioned this sort of to make you all feel cheerful, but also because the original motivation for this project, playing in all the towns in Vermont, came about when I stopped flying out of concern for the environmental impact, which meant really declining invitations to perform almost anywhere else outside of Vermont, given the distances. And so after a brief moment of sadness about that, I decided to turn it into an opportunity instead. We'd always wanted to visit all the towns in Vermont, and I thought, why not? Let's do this. And it's a great platform to sort of talk about this, and I'll remember to think about this and what we can do about things, which, as I mentioned a moment ago, is kind of depressing. And also, when you do talk about the choices you can make, there's, you know, you're virtue signaling, and nobody wants to hear it. But if I do it like this, you know, and I'm playing a free concert, like, nobody can really complain. So that's kind of what's going on. And the interesting thing about it, as my wife Annalise, who led you in our newfound waltz, as we've discovered, it isn't like, oh, well, too bad we're not flying all over the place, but Vermont's not too bad. We haven't missed it at all. Like, sometimes it's inconvenient when we need to visit our kid in Ohio or something, but Vermont's an amazing place, right? And down here is so different from where we live outside of Burlington. But even where we live, you go one town over, or even you just cross the river or the ridge in town, and you're in a different place topographically, and a different community with different amazing, you know, community resources that people have built and kept going and created all this wonderful community gathering in. So I just encourage you to, like, take advantage of living in the best state in the country, and consider sticking nearby when you can. Yeah, so as Dick mentioned at the beginning, this is the 101st concert. At every concert, I play a sonata by the composer Domenico Scarlatti, a different one at each concert. And I picked him because of this, like, amazing, deep musical realization I had, which is that he wrote enough sonatas to do this. He's the only guy who wrote enough of anything to cover the state. There's actually, he wrote almost 600 sonatas, so when I'm done, I can do New Hampshire. Right? So this is the 101st concert, and I will play his sonata number 101 in A major. as I always lament to my wife, Annalise, it's like, those kinds of pieces, they go so much better the third and fourth time you play them, and I never have a third and fourth time. I have, though, a bonus 101, maybe my most favorite Beethoven sonata in A major, Opus 101 of Beethoven. So I'm going to play the first movement of Beethoven's Opus 101 now. Yes, so as you've probably caught on, these concerts are a celebration of locality, right? So it's not just that Vermont is beautiful and has this great variety of landscapes, but it has these 252 towns, and even though they have the smallest population median town size of any state in the country, we have more towns per capita than any other state. Despite that, they're real places. Like, they're not just dots on the map, or there used to be something here. Right? People go to enormous effort to make things happen locally, to keep spaces alive and to keep events happening in them. So my most favorite part of this whole project is when I get to collaborate with a resident or native, or in this case, nearby neighbor who teaches in Wilmington in this case. So I'm very delighted that somebody, I don't remember who, Dick put me in touch with Bekka, and we're going to play a couple of pieces for you now. I think I have one piece on the program that's not thematic to Vermont or Wilmington. I'm cheating a little bit because I have a concert next week in Long Island, and the building I'm playing in was built in 1851 when these pieces were published, so I'm trying them out here. This is a set of pieces by Robert Schumann, Scenes from Childhood. And Schumann is a very interesting composer and fascinated with children. I think he had 11 himself. And, well, with the help of his wife, Clara, who was an amazing pianist for whom he wrote most of his piano music. And one thing that I think is amazing about these pieces is that even though he was writing in the beginning of the Romantic era, when people were appropriately, romanticizing all of their topics, romanticizing, in this case, childhood, these pieces are actually very, very much from the perspective of children. I think he does a really great job of not sort of being nostalgic or condescending. They're very direct, and they're very honest. So I mentioned, like, they have, as you see, descriptive titles. I mentioned this partly because, like, when I get to the daydreaming one, people play this very, very slowly and romantically, like this. Which is like No Kid Ever. And he actually has metronome marks in the score, and he says it goes like this. Which I can't quite bring myself to do, but I'm close to that. Because it's not dreaming or sleeping, right? It's daydreaming. The one I'm going to play after that, the tag one, Blind Man's Buff, you can actually hear, I mean, it's just a sound picture of people playing tag, and it has these remarkable surprise accents where you don't expect them, which is sort of, those are the touches, right? Like. So I think you'll hear that. The very last piece is called The Poet Speaks, and that's the composer who originally wanted to be actually a poet when he was young. And you'll hear that one is much more sort of flowery and pompous, really, and very much in contrast to the whole rest of the set, which is truly childlike and innocent. So here are the Scenes from Childhood. I have one more piece to play for you, and I'm going to tell a little story about it first. So this is a prelude by Debussy, and it's a sort of musical telling of this old legend from the north of France about a city on the coast that was below sea level with a great dike to keep the ocean out. And one day, the dike is left open, and the tide comes in and completely inundates the city, which is washed out to sea and lost forever, except for, they say, at very low tides, off in the distance, you can still see the spire of the cathedral rising as the water recedes, and you can hear the bells ringing and the monks chanting. So it's a very beautiful legend, and you can hear in the music, it's very pictorial. You can hear the bells at the beginning and the sort of arpeggios up and down of the water rising and falling, and you can hear the monks chanting, and all of these things just beautifully evoked in the music. And everybody always tells this story, like this is very well known and well understood about this piece. One thing which seems remarkably little known nowadays, that I only discovered in, looking online a lot about this piece, is that it was written in 1910, which was the year of the Great Flood of Paris. And that flood was so high, it was 28 feet above flood stage, that even today, as like climate records are, being broken one by one on a regular basis, that still remains the record height of the Seine. And I was thinking, 28 feet, at 28 feet, that's almost 3 stories, right? So low-lying buildings in low areas of the city would actually have been, as in the legend, you could only see the tips of the roofs. And this would have been very obvious without any explanation needed to the original audience for this piece, for Debussy's audience in Paris in 1910. So it's very much not just a legend, but also a piece about flooding, which of course is Vermont's particular cross to bear in terms of climate impact. So it's a piece that I'm playing a lot as I go through the state. And as I'm sure I don't have to tell you, Wilmington, at least in terms of infrastructure, was the hardest hit of any town in Hurricane Irene. So despite all that, it's a very beautiful piece. And before I play it, I'd like to fulfill one of our Play Every Town traditions and ask Dick to come up and fill in Wilmington on our life-size map of Vermont. And I wonder if anybody has a phone handy, because usually Annalise takes a key picture at this moment, but she's had to step out for a minute. So I will take over phone duties. is actually brown. Does that help? That's Brownington. And then this, thanks to Dick Coletti's suggestion, this is Peachum. I need to have like input from the fan base. We'll ask this on the line, but if you have any thoughts, it's a bit of a dilemma what we need to do in Whiting and Whitingham. We can't leave them white, and if we're not going to play them. So if you have thoughts, polka dots, stripes. I mean, if you have any, we'll sort of collect ideas. Okay.